Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be, she wasn't interested. Well, I've got a really great email success story, and it's really detailed. This guy details everything he did from the moment he met his current girlfriend and all the things that he went through, because this girl tried to jerk him around. She canceled a few dates on him for bullshit reasons. And he did a great job of following everything textbook. And what I love about this email is it perfectly illustrates the balance between extending an invitation, in other words, asking a girl for her phone number, asking her out on a date, expressing interest, whatever happens to be, and trying to engage her in conversation, and then letting the chips fall where they may. So initially, she rejected him, told him that she wasn't interested. And so he details each time something like that happened to him, what he did, what he said to turn things around and then cause her to fall completely head over heels in love with him. So this guy started out in a pretty dark place, which you'll see in the beginning of the email, and things are going really great for him because he got focused on the things that really matter as a man in order to make himself more attractive. So I got a quote that I wrote, and then we'll go through his email. And the quote says, "A non-attached attitude and demeanor is one of the greatest tools you can use to raise the quality of people in your personal and professional life and get what you really want. People who are used to getting what they want never really have to go out of their way to convince others of their value. Their value is self-evident. People who are not used to getting what they want try too hard to force things to happen for them instead of letting them happen. Go where you're wanted and celebrated, not simply tolerated." Let's go through his email. He says, "Hey Coach, I just wanted to share my success story with you as I feel you were a big part in helping me achieve it. 4 years ago, I considered myself a loser. I had no motivation in life to be a successful man and believed it to be out of my reach." Now it's important to remember what he just said. You'll see in a second how it affected his behavior with a previous woman that he talks about. "I now know that I just didn't have the tools or knew how to go about changing my life for the better." So in other words, your life strategy for your personal and professional life wasn't adequate. It sucked, basically. But this shaved-headed dude came along, and you learned the fundamentals, and you obviously got the results. So my first book is all about dating skills, pickup skills, relationship skills. And then my latest book, which is now out, Mastering Yourself, is all about self-reliance and accomplishing the things that you want in life. It basically is partially an autobiography of how I achieved all the things I've achieved in my life. So it's basically covers the things that there was no way to cover in the first book. It's a real in-depth analysis. Plus, I talk about some things that are going on around the world and how all these things interconnect and matter. And for those of you that are easily offended or overly emotional or mostly immature, if you read something in my new book and it sets you off and you wonder what the fuck is it doing in there, go in the back. Look at the back of the book. This quote will be on the back of my second book, or my first book as well. It says, "Enlighten the people generally, and tyranny and oppressions of body and mind will vanish like evil spirits at the dawn of day." So when I started out on this journey back in 13, 14 years ago, I had a reason for doing it. It wasn't to help just to help guys get their fucking noodles wet. It was to make a difference, a positive impact in the world. And so right now, because I've had people ask me about the Whisper Sync on the Audible. That's now available, where if you buy the Kindle version of my new book first, you can get the Audible version for a reduced price, just like you can with the first book. And what Audible's got going right now is that if you do an Audible free trial, you get 2 free books. And guess what? That means you can get both my audiobooks totally for free. But if you're unsure, if you're kind of skeptical, and you want to read the books first, you can do that by going to my website and subscribing to the email newsletter. And for those of you that are already subscribed to the newsletter and you just want to access the new book in the members area, in all of my emails, especially the latest one, what you'll see, if you scroll down, what you'll see is this here. See that little blue button that says click here for instant access to ebooks and online audio in members area? So if you're already subscribed to the newsletter, you just click that little button It'll take you right to the members area, and you can read both my books, and you can also listen to the audio course that I did for my first book when it was published all those years ago. It's not the Audible edition of the book. It's a completely separate set of courses and wisdom and things that's only available on my website. So you got nothing to lose. You can read both my books for free. You can learn all my best information for free. That's why I give everything away for free. It's because I know the stuff that I teach, it works. It's stuff I use day in and day out. If you've got the guts, if you've got the balls, if your balls have actually dropped, to use it, you will get the results. I promise you. Just like you're going to see with this guy here. He's doing fucking amazing. So what's interesting, I'm going to go through what he says here. He says, this is so telling of his old mindset. He says, I consider myself a loser. I had no motivation in life to be a successful man and believed it to be out of my reach. And you'll see in a second how that affected his interactions with the woman he was dating when he first found out about my work. I now know that I just didn't have the tools or knew how to go about changing my life for the better like most men. Thought you were just meant to be a good guy and good things would come my way. What an idiot, haha. Well, most people just don't have great strategies to accomplish what they want in their personal and professional life. This first book here will give you the strategies you need for your personal life to get what you want in your personal life. And this second book will help you get what you need in your professional life as well. And make you a little more enlightened about what the fuck is going on around the world. He says, I was able to fake confidence and easily get girls' numbers, but always had a hard time from there. After having trouble with a particular girl that I fell for in the first 5 minutes of meeting, I turned to your work. I would push her away with needy, stalkerish behavior and pull her closer with your work. So if you look at that, remember that sense. He felt like a loser. He didn't feel he was worthy. He didn't feel he was good enough. Deep down, he figured, man, when this girl really gets to know me, she's going to be fucking gonzo. And so what does he do? He tries to make up for it. He tries to force things because he's terrified of losing her. And then what happens? He ends up coming across as needy and stalkerish, which is going to cause a woman to feel unsafe and uncomfortable and then back away and test. And the average guy that doesn't know any better tries to force even more because he's totally driven by fear, because it's really about how he perceives himself and what his value is. But obviously if you think you're a loser, you're going to communicate in your body language, your words, the tone of your voice. In the beginning, I kept making the same mistakes. Old habits die hard. But when you're emotionally invested in something, and when you really care about somebody and you really want something, it's hard to do the right thing, especially if it's against everything you think and feel you should do. But the reality is, if what you've been doing was working, you wouldn't be here watching this video in the first place. But one thing was different. I knew I was making them, and I started to identify what mistakes I was making and how to make less. It was a slow process, but unlike before, I knew I needed to practice, so I started to practice on more and more girls, leaving behind the myth of the one. Yeah, if you're attached to the one, it's easy to get caught up and attached to one particular girl. What you're looking for, it's like I use an analogy a lot. It's like a good tennis partner, if you will. In other words, you hit the ball over the net, she's going to hit it back. A girl is actually interested in you will hit the ball back. And one that won't, she'll talk a bunch of shit, and she'll never really fall through on what she says she's going to do. And that's okay. You don't want to fucking flake. There's plenty of them out there, believe me. But what do you know, Corey? This girl really started to chase me, blowing up my phone like never before. Not just that, but I also started going to the gym and moved companies, chasing a more fulfilled work-life balance. So he got focused on the right things. He got focused on bettering himself. Because think about it, you get a better job, you're going to feel a little happier about yourself. You're going to be, especially if you're making a little bit more money. And if your schedule's better, you get a little better work-life balance. In other words, you get ownership of your time back. That's going to make you incrementally happier. And the happier you are, the more attractive you're going to be to the ladies. And dudes if you're looking to make new friends. And clients as well. And when you feel better, guess what? You're going to go to the gym. And then you see the results. You feel better about that. That makes you even more attractive. It just tends to snowball exponentially. The new me knew what he wanted and deserved, so I got a piece of paper and wrote down all the things I wanted and didn't want in a woman. First thing I realized is the girl I had been chasing for the past year, who was now talking about where are we going with this, was now not even on my radar. I ended it with her and moved on overnight. Fucking savage, dude. But isn't that interesting? A year prior, it was like, I gotta have this one girl. And then a year later, he's like, I'm fucking better than this. I can do better than this. And you'll see how much better. But she prepared him. And had he not been involved with that girl and things were not going well, he would have never had a reason to seek out my work. It's like people don't come to me when things are going well. They come to me when shit's fucked up. That's reality. He says, about 3 weeks later, I was in a bar with a few friends when my perfect 10 walked in the door, tall, curvy, and cute. Within 10 minutes, she had about 4 guys begging to buy a drink for her. My friends feel I'm a solid 7, but I felt like a 10, so I ditched my friends and I went over to tell her that I found her incredibly sexy and that we should go somewhere quiet to talk. He's brutally honest. It's like, you're amazing. Let's go over here and talk. He's extending his invitation to join him. Because why wouldn't she want to join him? I mean, he's fucking awesome. You have to perceive yourself being this way. Guys who really believe they're this way will act that way. She responded with a smirk and told me that she wasn't interested. Isn't that interesting? I replied with, no problem. I'll be over there when you change your mind. I turned around and walked away. A few hours had gone by, and I guess this perfect 10 had seen me during the night with a few other girls, because as she was leaving, she stopped past me and my friends and gave me her number. So he hit the ball over the net. She said, I don't want to play with you. And he's like, all right, well, I'll be over here if you want to play. And then what happened? She fucking beamed him with the tennis ball. Obviously, she was interested. And plus, she got social proof by watching him interacting with other people, especially other women. Because women can tell. Guys that are good have no problem talking to anybody. And guys are not sitting in the corner with their fucking beers in their chest, whether it's at a friend's party or at a bar or a nightclub, wherever it happens to be. Confident people engage with other human beings because they value themselves. I called her a couple of days later and arranged to meet up that Friday night. She messaged me on the Thursday night and said that she couldn't make it to our date. She didn't give a reason and didn't organize another time. So in other words, she's canceling the date, but she's not saying, hey, sorry, something came up, I need to reschedule. She's just basically kind of blowing him off. In other words, she's going, I don't really think you're fucking high value enough for me. And he's like, you know what? He didn't say this, but his reaction is like, hey, you know what? If that's your attitude, I'd rather spend my time with somebody that's excited to see me. Not somebody that's like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't make it. But what he says next, his non-attached answer, shows that he's cooler either way. He says, I replied the next day with, no worries, because she's texting him, let's see, Thursday. So she's blowing him off, so gives him time to think about what he's going to say. And plus, if it's at night and she's texting him, he's never gone on a date, wait till the next morning to get back to her. In other words, she's just treated him like he's a fucking low priority. So he's going to treat her the same way. He's going to match a mirror right back to her. You're going to treat me like a low priority? Well, it's like, you're a fucking low priority. Oh, I'm the low person on your totem pole? Well, you're all the way at the bottom of my totem pole. And he replies with, no worries, give me a call when you work out your schedule, as I'd really like to get to know you better. He's not a dick about it. He's not upset. He's not pissed off. Most guys would be. Most guys would be mad. But he's like, if she likes me, she'll get in touch. And if not, whatever. So 2 weeks, so he communicates to her that he's not overly emotional and overly fucking sensitive like a little beta. He's like, hey, get in touch with me. 2 weeks later, I got a call from her apologizing for her being MIA. I said it was no problem, and I organized a date with her that Saturday night. I turned up at the location, and she messaged me to say that she was running 40 minutes late. I replied with, no biggie, I'm making friends. in the time I was waiting, I had struck up a few conversations that had been pulled into a group of friends. When she turned up, I was surrounded with fun people having great conversation. Yeah, it's like you're totally unattached. It's like you don't give a fuck one way or another. She shows up, great. If not, whatever. She wasn't fucking worth your time anyways if she doesn't show up. Plus, on top of that, she's fucking rude. And so what he's communicating with his behavior, he's not getting butthurt and mad at her. He's just like, oh, wow, there's a group of cool people here. Let me have some fun. He had plans to have fun that evening, so he's focusing on his outcome. It doesn't matter whether she shows up or not. He gave her the greatest gift that he can give anybody, which is the gift of his time. And he knows his time is valuable, and if she doesn't appreciate it, he knows somebody else will. I mean, it's so instant. He's not sitting there going, how am I going to respond to her? You fucking bitch, you're 40 minutes late. He's not. He's just like, I'll talk to somebody else. Maybe I'll meet another girl. Fucking perfect attitude. She apologized. Let's see here. She apologized that I took her to a quiet place, and we had a great conversation, and I had her smiling and giggling a good portion of the time. After 45 minutes, she said she needed to go, LOL. I knew it was games, as the whole time she was touching my arms and playing with her hair. I said no problem, that I would go back to my new friends. I walked her outside, and notice what happens next. So as I'm sitting here, as I've gone through this, I'm thinking, because you'll see there's a few other things that she does. Like maybe this girl probably read that book, The Rules. What does the rules say? Show up late, cancel dates at the last minute, jerk a guy around, and he'll fall totally in love with you. But he's read, so he's prepared. He knows how to handle this. He's got this. It's autopilot. So notice what she does next. Walks her outside. I went for the kiss. She pulled away at the last second and said that I would have to buy her dinner before a kiss. I said I planned on it and that I would see her soon, going back to my new friends. So what does the book say about getting the cheek or getting refused a kiss? It's like you want somebody that's receptive, ready, willing, able, and open to giving you what you want and participating with you in a way that you want. In this particular case, he goes to kiss her, and she's purposely rejecting him. She's screwing around with him. And so you reward bad behavior with the gift of missing you permanently, and you reward good behavior with the greatest gift, which is the gift of your time. And so he went to kiss her, and she's like, oh, you got to buy me dinner first. Quite frankly, that's not a kind of, obviously you're going to respond in a playful way that shows it doesn't bother you, but internally you're going to be going, oh, there's like -5 fucking cool points for that, and another 5 for the no kiss, because you're fucking jerking me around. And so under normal circumstances, if he had kissed her and they'd have made out, a week or so later, he would have gotten in touch to set another date. But because she rejected him, he's like, you're going to still treat me like I'm some fucking peasant? I'm not good enough to kiss your lips? I have to buy you dinner first? He says a week went by, and I knew the impression that I left on her was a good one and that she wouldn't be able to resist. The old me would have started blowing up her phone to organize another date, but she disrespected you and didn't kiss you back because she's structured or she's got rules or whatever. It's like, so when you encounter that, that's why I say you don't go out with her. You don't call a girl to ask her out when she turns her cheek. Now, if she calls you later, then yeah, you can ask her out. But you don't chase after somebody who rejects you like that. Just like if you notice that she canceled the first date for no reason, he didn't call her a week or two later. He's like, I'm fucking awesome too. If she doesn't value that, well, there's somebody else out there that will. But I held true and waited, and about 2 weeks went by when she called me and I organized another date. This time, I invited her over to my house and I would be making dinner, which she initially agreed with and seemed excited, but for the last minute, she messaged me to try and change the location. I said to her that I had already organized a delicious dinner and a possible dessert if she was lucky, and that I would be at home if she changed her mind. He was giving her a take-it-or-leave-it kind of attitude. He set a date, she agreed to it, and now she's trying to jerk him around. She never replied, and I ended up eating by myself. That's fucking rude. But you can also say it's kind of soon to be bringing her back to your place. Because the idea is you, as I talk about in the book, is you bring her back to your place when things are going well on the date, when you guys are all over each other and you're making out and you can't keep your hands off each other, and when you want to go someplace more quiet. Here, you went from having a quick drink to, hey, why don't you come over to my place? Because women know if you've invited them over to make dinner at your place, it's pretty much, it's going to happen. That's reality. And if a woman accepts that, it's just the way it is. He says the next week, she messaged me and told me that she was really sorry and it was a shit thing for her to do. I said it was no problems, and I organized her coming over to my place the next night. What's he doing? He's holding fast to his purpose. He's like, no, you've disrespected me several times. I'm not going out of my way. If you want to see me, you can come to my place. And organized her to come to my place the next night. She countered with offering to cook me dinner at her place, and I accepted. Well, you can see, it's not perfect. It doesn't do everything. I personally would have had her come to my place. I wouldn't have gone to her. But he gets away with it. Because other than that, he's not showing any weakness. He says, I arrived on time and she greeted me at the door with an appetizer. Dude, service with a smile. She's an amazing cook. Bonus! I couldn't believe how amazing she was looking. She wanted to impress you. I told her she was looking gorgeous and proceeded to help her finish cooking dinner. We ended up passionately kissing before we could dish up the food. She basically blew up my phone from that moment, and after about 3 months, we were officially dating at her request. I've now been with this girl for almost 3 years, and we are expecting our first baby, and life is amazing. We have a caring two-way relationship, and we both go out of our way to do nice things for each other and to make sure they are happy. I couldn't have done this without you, and for that I owe you a great debt. Well, tell everybody you know. You can always go and make a donation on my website by clicking the donate button at the bottom. Show your appreciation. But it's a great success story. The guy was he was 99.9% okay. He did a great fucking job, dude. Very proud of you. I'm very happy for you guys and the baby. That's awesome. Congratulations. So with that said, if you'd like to get my help personally, whether it's a personal or professional challenge that you're having, you can go to my website, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book whatever coaching option works for you. And I will talk to you soon.